Hello there. How to balance passion and emotions at work. This is a question that comes up for a lot of people because they notice that if they're too passionate about their ideas at work or too emotionally charged about their ideas at work, it often works against them. This is something that I know all too well, being an extremely passionate and creative person my entire life. This is how I identify myself as a human being. So it's something that has not always worked in my favor, especially when I had to deal with other people and I couldn't just do the creativity and the passion and execute on my own. And the answer that I'm going to give you might actually surprise you, because the answer to balancing passion and emotions at work is stop trying to balance them. Hi, I'm Stacey Mayer from Stacey Mayer Coaching, and I coach corporate managers to get promoted into senior level leadership positions so that they can make a bigger impact at their organization. I coach them to getting a seat at the table, to being called on in the middle of the night for their ideas instead of putting in extra hours on a spreadsheet. And I am on a mission to get 1,000 talented professionals promoted into senior leadership positions each and every year. I'm so excited that you've joined me today as we talk about a topic that is really passionate and near and dear to my heart. So, I want to first give you an example just so I can spell out exactly how this type of having emotionally charged behavior can actually work against you. So let's say Jim. Jim is a senior manager in marketing at his company, and a lot is going on right now for Jim. You know, he's working from home. He's has two children, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. His wife is also working from home. He's not sleeping as well. He's trying to work around the clock. So he feels a little bit of a heightened emotional state to begin with. He's having a conversation with his boss, and he comes up with a really amazing marketing idea for their team. And he gets super excited about it. His boss says, sure, why don't you present it on Friday at the all hands? We'll talk about it. We'll discuss your idea. He works really, really hard on it. So he's already not getting enough sleep. He puts all of his energy into this one idea. He presents it on Friday, and there aren't a ton of questions. There isn't a ton of feedback that he receives. They say, thank you for your idea. We'll take it into consideration, and they walk away. So Jim is devastated. He is like, what? They don't even care about me. So now he's getting back into his head, back into the emotional state. He's starting to think about all of the reasons, and it's Friday, so he's got the whole weekend to think about all the reasons why they're rejecting his idea. It's all about him, right? It's all about the fact that they don't like him, or they don't respect him, or they don't really want his ideas. So he comes in on Monday morning and goes into his direct boss's office. He walks up to her and he says, you know what? I don't feel like I was given a proper voice at the meeting on Friday. I don't think you guys really heard my idea that I was trying to present. And I really think that we need to go forward with this idea very quickly. Time is fast. Time is money. We need to move forward. And she said, yeah, you know, we did hear the idea. Everybody heard it. It's a great idea. We're thinking about it. He's like, okay, but he doesn't believe her. He's still kind of emotionally charged. So he goes away for a couple days. He's still stewing. But in the meantime, he's talking to his peers. He's talking to his colleagues. He's starting to complain about other things to them. He's like, he's complaining about how he doesn't get respect, you know, just different things like that, right? And he walks back into his boss's office again and asks her again. He's like, why isn't this moving forward? And now it's only Wednesday. So he presented the idea on Friday. He's super passionate about it. He wants it to move forward. I mean, you're even just listening to me talk, you have to be somewhat exhausted by this story, right? But it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well for him because the CEO who actually heard his proposal on Friday and thought that it was a great idea and was considering it, now thinks that Jim is a hothead. He is worried about Jim's ability to execute on this. He thinks that he is too emotionally attached to the project. And if it doesn't go exactly how Jim wants it to go, then he is going to be upset, because that is basically the attitude that he has displayed over the past 3 or 4 days. So they decide not to move forward with Jim's idea. And instead, they actually take away a really big project that he was working on at the time. They take it away from him because now they're even doubly worried about his emotional stability right now. I do not want this to happen to you just because of your passionate ideas. Um, so I told you that my solution is to not try and balance the two. The actual solution is to separate the two. And I'm going to give you the exact steps to do that so that you can actually realize that the worst possible time to present a passionate idea is when you are emotionally charged about it. Even if it feels positive, even if it feels like a great idea at the time, and it feels like it's a positive charge, you're like, but I'm just really excited about it, so I should present it right now because they'll believe me more. That is the time that you do not want to present your idea. So just to further illustrate this idea that passion and emotions don't have to go together, I want you to think about in your 20s when you were looking for your perfect soulmate and you wanted to feel passionate about them. You wanted to feel love from them. You wanted to feel connection to them, right? If you have experienced this and you have had that perfect person fall into your life, I want you to write it in the comments and let me know. So you wanted to find those sparks and that energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But later in life, especially if you stayed married to the same person or you eventually found your actual true soulmate, what you realize is that you can feel passionate and really love somebody, but it doesn't have to have that emotional charge behind it. And why is that? Because you are secure in yourself, you're secure in your relationship, you trust your partner, and you can still be head over heels, madly in love with them. So that is what I'm trying to get you to do with your passionate ideas at work. I want you to be head over heels, madly in love with them, but I want you to be able to execute on those ideas in a smart, specific way so that they can actually come to fruition. Now, the first way that you're going to do this is to notice your emotional state. So when I was talking about Jim, he didn't take the time to say, oh my gosh, I'm feeling very overwhelmed right now, not necessarily because of work, but just in general, because a lot is happening to me right now. So even more so important, it's important for him to take that time to really just slow down before he presents his idea, because he's already in an emotionally charged state. So the first thing I want you to notice is if I just thought of something. So Daniel Tiger, because I have a 3 and a 5-year-old, Daniel Tiger, a spinoff of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, has this great episode where they talk to Daniel about that he's too excited to move forward. Now, you think about it, if you're too upset, you don't want to speak up because you're too upset. So you get that. You understand why that's not a great idea. It's also not a great idea to speak up if you're too excited. So in this particular episode, I remember thinking it was such a fantastic way to explain to Daniel Tiger that he needed to calm down and slow his emotions down before they could proceed in the trolley because he was too excited. So notice, am I too something? Am I too like worked up? Am I too attached? Am I too excited? Am I too this? And then what you're going to do is you're going to get an outside perspective. So first of all, slow down. Don't write the email if you're emotionally charged, good or bad. Don't have the conversation if you're emotionally charged, good or bad. And then what you're going to do is create a business case for your idea. So you're actually going to present the solution. So Jim did all of that right. He presented his idea in a very formal way at the all hands. It sounds like that part all went really well. He was super passionate about his idea. Where he kind of fell off the wagon was after the meeting when he thought that they thought something, and maybe that was or wasn't true. The second part that I want you to do is to make sure after you present your passionate idea, I want you to schedule the follow-up plan. So you need to make sure that you have an actual plan in place for when and if this is going to be executed. So create a date. So if you're just having a one-on-one conversation with your boss, say, can I follow up with you about this next Friday? Or what should I expect the next steps should be? So what this does is it opens up the door for you to be able to follow up. So I don't want you to not follow up on it, because this happens all the time. You present a passionate idea, it goes away and nobody else brings it up. And then you just sort of shut yourself in your office and you say, oh, they don't care about me anyway. So I want you to be able to follow it up. And the best way to be able to do that is to create a date for the follow-up. So when should I expect to hear from you? Now that is also going to give you more information so that you know what's actually going on and where their priorities are, and if this is even aligned with the current priorities for your boss or the CEO or the organization. So that is the second step. And then the third step I want you to do is to actually follow up. Now, when I describe Jim's following up, that is not how you follow up. You don't barge into their office on Monday morning and say, why isn't this happening? Why isn't anybody listening to me? Or I think what most people do, because they're too afraid of being seen like a jerk, is they don't do that. So then they just keep quiet. And so they don't actually say anything because they're like, well, if they liked the idea, they would follow up. But why don't we just assume that they're busy people, that our boss is equally as busy as we are, and that they don't have time to always think about our specific passionate idea. So I want you to follow up in a way, going back to step number one, that is not emotionally charged, but is just inquiring and wanting to know how you can offer more support in that area. I also want you to follow up in a way that's not attached to the actual result. So when we work for organizations versus for our own company, we cannot be attached to them actually proceeding in the exact way that we want or think that they should proceed. We can't shake people, right? But what you'll notice is that if they proceed in some way with your idea and you can run it, you will still feel that passion. You will still feel excited about seeing that idea come to fruition. And who knows, if you don't have the emotional charge behind it, you might actually be better at executing it because you can see the idea for what it is. You can see the obstacles along the way. Now, I guarantee if you take this 3-step approach to presenting your passions at work, you will be more likely to actually see your passions come to fruition. If you do not see your passions come to fruition and you feel like you have done it exactly how I have laid out, you've actually followed up, you've kept your emotions in check, you've been able to talk to your boss in a way that they can actually hear, and you feel like consistently over and over and over and over and over again, you have not been receiving the support that you really feel like you deserve. Now you have other options. You can either go out, get a second opinion, talk to people whose opinions you really value, who you trust, get a coach, understand what's actually happening, how you're presenting your ideas. If that still doesn't work, then it's possible it's not a great cultural fit for you. It's possible you're not at the right company. But I'm a big fan of exhausting all of the options before it even gets to that place. So I want you to know that it is possible to change your communication style to be less emotionally charged, yet still be passionate about your ideas, and to be able to actually see them come to fruition. Now, if this has been interesting to you and you want to know more about how you can actually use this time of crisis to get more and more of your passionate ideas out into your organization, into the world, then I invite you to sign up for my live webinar. I am doing a series of live webinars over the next couple of months about how the biggest career jumps are made during times of crisis. You can sign up at staceymayer.com/crisis webinar. And I talk about exactly what I have been sharing with, oh, see, I spelled my name wrong. Okay, let me try again. staceymayer.com/crisis webinar. There we go. That should be better. There we go. Look before you hit enter. So I talk about what is actually working for people in this emotionally charged time. And I give you real case studies and real examples from my clients and other leaders in the country that are actually seeing their ideas and their passions come to life more so during this crisis, because opportunities are now becoming available to them. So I encourage you to sign up for my free live training. And otherwise, just comment below. Let me know what you've thought about this video, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.